Hey everyone, it's McLeod. How is everyone doing today? I never bother to ask. Let me know in the comments if you're doing good, if you're having a good time playing Duel Links, or just enjoying life in general. I'm not having any fun playing Duel Links at the moment, but I'm keep making videos because I have bills to pay. And today I want to showcase a deck that's been gaining a bit of popularity recently in tournaments. I mean, less Lyrilusc. I don't know if that's not that's not a good name for the deck. The old concept of this deck is, instead of playing Lyrilusc Bud Humming, which is the skill that you would usually play with Lyrilusc to improve your consistency, you're playing a Avaricious Avians, which is a generic winged beast type of skill that recycles your stuff to draw your card. It's like a sort of tiny Pot of Avarice skill. Is there a better counterpart to Pot of Avarice, because it's only shuffles 3, draws you 1? I can't think of any, but this is basically the idea for this deck is you lose a little bit of consistency, but the trade-off is you can special summon stuff that's not Lyrilusc monsters. Cards that would include Slower Swallow, that you can actually summon when you're playing pure Lyrilusc, because the skill doesn't prevent you from summoning level 1 monster, which is a really cute extender. Conserves more material, conserve an additional draw. This deck is a bit more geared towards, longevity and making duels last a bit longer, which is why some versions are also playing Kaijus, because you could distribute something that your opponent summons and you go second, and you make Assemble Nightingale, Rested or Starling, go into the Kaiju, they take a lot of damage, you don't, and probably you will in the game. This deck's also playing Swallow's Nest, good way to improve your opener. If like you opened one Beryl Canary, you Swallow's Nest, suddenly you can get a Cobalt Sparrow that gets you something else. Something better, preferably. Swallow's Nest is a cool card. Remember when this card was on the ban list because of RPs? It's a cool card. I don't know why people are not playing it in regular Lyriluscs. Probably because you don't need to, because the deck is consistent enough as is. You'd rather be playing more tech cards that actually do something, which we're not playing a lot of, but we are playing an extra deck that is comprised of Link monsters that we can actually summon. Wow! Link Karibo's here. It's a good way to turn a hand of Beryl plus Cobalt Sparrow into something that can actually happen, because you link the Cobalt Sparrow into a Link Karibo, and then you Beryl Canary to bring it back. Ah, interesting. We got Nightmare Phoenix, one of the cards of all time. Nightmare Unicorn, same deal. There's just removal. Just removal playing Ningirsu also. I never went into Ningirsu, ever, but in theory it's decent. A lot of people are playing Underworld Goddess of the Closed World, because it turns out Lyras can, fill the ball really quickly, and then make this, and presumably win the game off of it. But I don't have it, because I don't spend gems or money into selection boxes, because they're a scam, and Konami is constantly trying to scam us, and I hate this game. Yeah, Story Extra is pretty classic, except we have to sacrifice a few spots for the Link monsters that we're playing. Look, we're playing 1 Promenade Thrush, 2 Rested All Starlings, the Assemble Nightingale, of course, and the Ensemble Robin. It's a pretty cool extra deck. We get to recycle or Assemble Nightingale if it's taken care of with the skill, so we don't have to Beryl Canary into Bird Sanctuary to make it live again. You can just recycle with the skill. Like I said, this version of the deck less consistent, but more staying power, I'd say. Is it better than the original version of Lyrilusc that uses the skill Lyrilusc Bottoming to achieve Lyrilusc results? Lyrilusc? I don't think so, but it's a fun way to play the deck that people aren't gonna expect on ladder. Because they're gonna see Lyrilusc, they're like, there's no way this guy can make Dingirsu. Oh wait, they can make Dingirsu. Once again, I never made Dingirsu, but in theory I can. You can also play Dark Hole. Wanna go second? It's a neat card. There's probably a lot of cool going second stuff that you can play in this list. As always, I only have 2 Bird Calls. You'll probably play 3 if you have them. Maybe not. If you have 3, you can play over 20, but because I don't, I'm playing 20 because the deck's a little bit breakier than the regular version because of the fact that you're now playing a consistency skill that makes a Beryl Canary or Turquoise Warbler immediately live, so. Anyway, that's the deck. Real quick, real simple, it's birds. Oh, what can I say? Did you know birds are dinosaurs? I like dinosaurs. Let's check a couple of replays. This first replay against Hero, because you know, this is Duel Links in early 2025. You gotta have every other game be against Hero. Wow, really interesting, you know. Yeah, I'm glad that they gave fungus that became sentient an option to play Duel Links and sort of win games with. This is so cool and original. I definitely haven't seen this game 1,000 billion times. Wow, this is so interesting. You know, the unique combos of this deck, the intricacies of the game plan. I set to pass. Wow, that's impressive. MST, Pulse Book of Moon, Bird Call, Celestine Wagtail, gets you summon a Cobble Sparrow. That's a pretty decent hand, you know, I have all the birds that I want. A lot of birds that I need. You get the Sapphire Swallow, summoning the Celestine Wagtail so I can get the Bird Sanctuary. And there it is. It's just there. Oh no, my opponent has a Book of Moon. How tragic. They opened Super Poly, got it with the scale rather, didn't set it. Because they think, oh, but I need Super Poly. It's not like I was planning on winning this game, you know? Super Poly? What does Super Poly even do? Except prevent me from losing right now to birds. Hero players, man. I don't know. Must not be really difficult. Activate the Assemble Nightingale. Oh, they respond with the Iron Dragon Thunder. Interesting. The Assemble Nightingale effect goes through there. And they do have a monster with 4,000 attack. That's interesting. And I take no battle damage this turn. And I can make an Xyz monster that makes them take all the battle damage that I would have taken. Interesting. I wonder how this game is gonna end. I wonder what's going to happen this game. I have to boost it because the Battle Canary gives Recital Starling 200 attack. Oh, that's a cool hand. And game over. Hero is just proof that nobody has ever bothered to playtest this game while designing for it. And it fills me with grief, really. Genuine sadness. That I know so many people in the video games industry. Young, promising designers, you know, with ideas. And they have a lot to learn technically, sure, but they're creative people and they're smart people. And they can get jobs because, you know, there's a lot of too many game designers on the market at the moment compared to the jobs and spots available in companies. Meanwhile, some piece of shit asshole dickwad who doesn't even play Duel Links probably is designing skills for this game. And somehow he keeps making them more dog shit with every passing month. It's insane. 2024 was like a carnival of absolutely broken skill that should never have made it past alpha testing. But there's no play testing going on in Konami's Duel Links team. So nobody notices. And we ended up with Tachyon and Shiranui and Star Seraphs and Borrowlink and Predaplants and all of these decks. I click yellow button and even all of those combined aren't nearly as offensive to me as Dragonic Contact existing. Which means something because Dragonic Contact is even more offensive than Eternal Bond was, which was even more offensive than Hero Alliance. It's the first skill of its kind that searched Super Poly. And they buffed it too. Think about that for a second. Speaking of Predaplants, here's a replay against Predaplants. Really strong deck, Predaplants. In large part thanks to its skill. You know, a skill that you click it, you just +2. Remember when people complained about anime skills, right? In Zexal era? And they were like, these anime skills are unfair. Because you click it and you get the perfect starter. but you get 2 plus off of these. You just shuffle a card and get another card back. And people complain about I don't know how to play, but I don't know how to play didn't plus you, you know? It plus you comparative that you remove the card that you didn't want for one that you did want, but isn't the same true with Predaplants? I wonder. I mean, it's like if you don't even need to shuffle anything. If you don't have Scorpio, you just get Scorpio with the skill. And you don't have to pay anything for it. And people argue that this is a well-designed, well-balanced skill. I'm like, no, I would have preferred to see how Predaplants would have fared without a completely bonkers skill. You know? The skill that Konami gave Yuri for this event, Fusion Dragon Invasion. It gives you a Chlamydo Sundew for free, and a Predator counter attack you can immediately use it. And nobody's playing it. Because why would they? The skill doesn't let you go +2. And sure, you get to place a Predator counter, but no, the previous skill does that also. I use Diddy Crow here because I don't want them to draw even more cards than they have. Because, you know, Predaplants, deck that goes through a lot of cards throughout its combo. It's a really good deck. It's a shame we're never going to see a fair version of it because Konami is just too incompetent to nerf skills. See, this is a bad opening hand because I have to summon Celestine, Wagtail, and Swallow's Nest into Cobalt Sparrow. Oh, they took the bait though. That's fine, I have Barrel Canary. You know, Barrel Canary revive the Celestine Wagtail. Yeah, that's completely okay. Completely fine. Get the Bird Call, get me some Sapphire Swallow, and put 2 and 2 together, or 1 and 1 together rather. That's a joke I make sometimes, you know. It's just a little ditty, a fun little gag that I hope makes you laugh at least. It doesn't make me laugh. I'm making this guy really big. Can you guess what happens next? My opponent conceded, but they saw the writing on the wall. You know, I had a Sapphire Swallow, I could have searched with the Wrestle Starling detaching the Celestine Wagtail that I can reattach later down the line to the Assemble Nightingale that was inevitable. So I assemble Nightingale, attack directly a couple of times, just flick him. It's a bug, it flicks. And then crush into the Draco's Piliot, make them take a lot of damage. It's kind of a fun deck, really. This one's against Dragonmaid, which I hope is a deck that people enjoy playing a bit more, because its skill isn't completely bonkers. It is still a pretty strong skill, right? It's basically a switcheroo that sets you up, and does something else when you go second, which isn't the worst design ever. It's actually kind of a neat design. Must have not been designed by the same guy that made Dragonic Contact. There's maybe 2 designers at Konami's Duel Links team, you know? One of them loves Duel Links and has been playing Duel Links for a very, very long time and knows how to carefully balance, you know, decks and archetypes and tries to ensure a healthy metagame. And then there's the little dipshit on the side, little piece of shit asshole, you just made Dragonic Contact, and before that Eternal. I'm sure this is the guy that we have to blame for Sacred Beast Beckoning. And look, I got Book of Eclipsed. If I had Trisha like my extra deck, I could have done something, but I didn't. Just get to draw DD Crow, draw 3. You can see I'm playing a Kaiju. I played a version of a Kaiju for a while, but I didn't find it too convincing. My opponent kind of bricked, you know, that doesn't really do anything this game. Get a Kaiju, this turns off tidying, I guess. I can link them off. Nightmare Penis. Wow, that's a funny joke too. Get rid of one Burkle, get the other Burkle. Of course I pop the MST. It's the least important cards, because it's not like I'm gonna do anything. Maybe going for the Unicorn here is a mistake. Maybe it is, you know? Yeah, DD Crow. I'm not gonna need DD Crow, they're gonna brick. Now we can go for Barrel Canary and Cobalt Sparrow. Really cool. Cobalt Sparrow gets me Slower Swallow. It's just a can we take a break? Because it's gonna be put under the Assemble Nightingale. But I just want all to appreciate the slower swallow. Like cute little artwork. It's just a bird, you know. Still, you know, cute little bird with flowers. That's the kind of, you know, it's cute little cards. I really appreciate it. Thought I'd mention it, you know. Yeah, look, it's a big assemble nightingale. Activate this, try to draw one, not really anything. Activate bird sanctuary, try to draw one, and not really anything. I should have done this in the opposite order. Because if I had drawn a sapphire swallow, that could have easily been lethal. But it's not. This is stuff that happens sometimes. Assemble nightingale, you know, they don't have droplets. What can you do? They don't have droplets. They just win. You get hospitality. Oh boy. Oh, they're gonna get this. Changeover. That was the last set. Wait. Couldn't they activate changeover like this whole time? Because like the turn 1. No. I just realized this. If we scroll back to the first turn. Right. They activate the skill. They send your jar, they get chamber. Oh, the chamber got them a changeover. And then they monster gated a chamber into another chamber. That's really funny. I forgot to mention that. They monster gated a chamber into a second chamber. That's unlucky. That's really unlucky. Oh, look. Dragonmaid here. You know, MST, pop the backer. I'm not gonna negate that. Just enough the tidying. This is gonna bring a chamber again. Gets them welcome. Cool card. Fun that you can pitch that to your protection. That's really cool. Look, we got slower swallow. And Celestine Wagtail tries to attack. He lets me do that for some reason. I just get to do all that. But even if it didn't, I had my skill. I could have Sapphire swallowed the Celestine Wagtail into a thing. Into a recital Starling. So it was lethal no matter what. Whether or not they negate the Celestine Wagtail or the Sapphire Swallow that I luck draw with the skill makes no difference. It's just lethal. Yeah. That's Lyrilusc, I guess. You know, even without the skill, you still do the same thing. Hey, look, it's Blue Angel. You know what this means? Tuning in the sky. You know, the other day, some guy on Reddit made a post asking, hey, which of these decks would still be playable, of the decks on the tier list, which of these would still be playable on the Duel Links if it wasn't for their bonker skill? And there's an argument for some of these decks. You know, I think Lyrilusc is still playable without Budgeoming. You know? And, Dragonic Contact Hero doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. And it shouldn't exist. That's how you know it shouldn't exist. Without the skill, it doesn't exist. But then skill's sometimes good, you know? Sometimes not too much. Predaplants is still very playable, right? You have to fusion lock yourself really early because you're probably playing 3 Predator practices for the Orpheus Scorpio, and then Orpheus Scorpio into Darlingtonia. It's easier to counter, certainly, but yeah. I think Lyrilusc is still playable. This is proof of that. Maybe Crystal Beasts isn't, because this Crystal Beast skill does a lot, you know? Maybe. What else is on the tier list? Salmon Grey, that's still somewhat playable. The skill is way too pushed though. Gemini, probably not, because your best card is a continuous trap. That means you can't activate it going first, but is the Gemini skill that bit of a problem? Maybe the third effect where you get 2 cards out of nowhere for 3 years. It probably is, yeah. I don't mind the deck being able to activate its one good card early. Look, cool field that my opponent has made. Would Agents have been playable without tuning the sky? I don't know. I'm not sure. Anyway, my opponent basically has 1 interruption. That's the big Masterfly Hyperion. I'm just gonna have fun, you know. do a cute little birds combo. Versatile Starling, you know how this ends. You know how this ends. Hey look, they take no battle damage from battle involving their fairy, but Black Rose Moonlight Dragon lasts on a fairy, and I have the second Swallow's Nest. Really great cards. Really fantastic cards. Flower Swallow. Isn't this a cool card? Meryl Canary. Or the Kerbal Sparrow. You know the line. That's how the deck goes. And put them all together. Make Assemble Nightingale again. Don't I have a Celestine Wagtail somewhere on there? No, I don't. It's fine. Just attack for 12. And then crush for 33. It's a cool game. I like the Lyrilusc, you know. I've been complaining a lot about did I not activate the Assemble Nightingale effect, and this is why the game thought I was losing for a second. Oh, oops! I didn't know that even when I... It doesn't matter because I lethal anyway, that's funny. Yeah, funny replay. That's the deck. As I was saying, I like Lyrilusc, you know. As problematic as Assemble Nightingale can be, and it's less so because now we have so many ways of dealing with it. I like this deck in specific. I like the Lyrilusc game plan. I like that even bird humming is like not a completely degenerate skill, but like more akin to the consistency skill of pre-2024. And I like that, you know, you can still play the deck without this skill. I think that somehow if the piece of shit asshole dumbass gets fired someday, you know what I'm talking about, little dipshit. I think if this guy gets fired and the other guy is like, you know what, let's remove all of the skills that came out since Tachyon Dragon Domination. I think this is how we get a more balanced metagame, you know? And sure, Lyrilusc is playable. Is it the best deck? Is it even meta relevant? I don't know. But it's a more fun game than what we have at the moment. I've gone on record. I'm gonna go on record again saying it. If the game doesn't get better by my birthday, which is on May 5th, I'm gonna quit. I'm just gonna quit Duel Links. It could be a really impactful ban list that removes unfun decks from competition, hero. Also takes major steps to address other top tier decks to, you know, lessen the amount of free advantage that you get from just playing these, you know. And if maybe the new decks from the new box aren't too toxic, I forgot the skill that they get. I remember the Dino skill just gives you an additional normal for free for Oviraptor, and then a target to pop with the Oviraptor on your opponent's field for free, which... not the most balanced thing out there, but there's a way to deal with that, you know? Doesn't really add anything to your hand for free as far as I remember. Still have to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Which is interesting. So hopefully the format gets better, and if it doesn't, I'll just time to something the curtains. I forgot what the saying is. Anyway, that'll be it for today's video. Hope that you enjoyed it. I'm kinda chill nowadays. You know, I can't really get mad at this game anymore. If I get mad, it's because I choose to get mad. I choose to keep playing this, so I'm not allowed to get mad. This is the way I feel about it. If you like this video and would like to see more content, make sure to like, comment and subscribe. I would really appreciate that. If you'd like to support me further, you can also check out my Ko-fi in the video description, where you can make a tiny donation. I would appreciate that. Speaking of people that I appreciate, my Ko-fi donators: Dingust, Aldishboy0, Jimmy, Xenia, Yannick, Sile, Mark Lou, Fortunello16, the Abyssactor Guru, Orc Price, Exorcist. Thank you all for the support. And that's it for today's video. See you all tomorrow when we see the new box. I'm sure soul eating Oviraptor is gonna be a UR, there's no avoiding it. It's fine, I guess. Take care everyone, I will see you all next time.